After the release of Tears of the Kingdom, it didn't look like Nintendo had any plans to release any more huge games on the Switch. I figured that they'd probably ramp down production to focus on the next generation system, and if I was a betting man, I'd be ruined. The recent Nintendo Direct has shown us that Nintendo still has plenty of fuel left in the tank when it comes to creating experiences for the Switch. The fact that they've gotten 6 years of success out of an underpowered console based on its hybrid nature and the sheer quality of most of its games is something nobody saw coming after the Wii U generation. One of my favourite things to do is to speculate and think about the possibilities of what could be and what could have been. I'm going to be so much fun to be around after my first divorce. I've already done a video talking about my most wanted game sequels, so I thought I'd weigh in on what I want to see out of the Switch's successor, which I'll just call the Switch 2 for the remainder of the video. Feel free to talk about what you'd like to see out of the Switch 2 in the comments. I'm always interested in other people's opinions when it comes to this topic. I know that all these gaming news websites will churn out articles called the release date of the Switch Pro to farm clicks. And in the end, the article will just say, we don't know when the next Nintendo console's coming out, click here to see our other Nintendo articles. And while this frustrates Nintendo fans, me included, they're not wrong. We know barely anything about Nintendo's timeline. There is some information we can use to make assumptions about the status of the new Nintendo console, but it's not necessarily the most reliable information. The CEO of Ubisoft said that Nintendo told them it would be better to make one game per console regarding the lackluster sales of Mario + Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which implies that work on the next system is well underway. There was a leak of Nvidia DLSS source code last year, which pointed to the existence of the Switch 2, along with the potential hardware it could use from Nvidia. And finally, Nintendo consoles tend to come out roughly every 5 or 6 years, with the GameCube releasing in 2001, the Wii releasing in 2006, the Wii U releasing in 2012, and the Switch releasing in 2017. So by this pattern, the Switch 2 should be coming relatively soon. As I said, this isn't the most reliable information and it doesn't point to any kind of specific dates or system features, so when a new rumour about the Switch 2 starts circulating, take it with a pinch of salt.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Whenever someone talks about the next Nintendo system, it's unavoidable that they're going to bring up a similar point to someone else. There's only so much you can ask for while being realistic about your expectations. I'll try to be as original as possible with this list, but I'm definitely going to be overlapping with other people's opinions. Backwards compatibility. With the Switch having a huge library of brilliant experiences like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Odyssey, and the absolute masterpiece that is Monkey, it's almost necessary for the Switch 2 to have backwards compatibility. As of writing this video, the Nintendo Switch has sold more than 125 million units. Current players may find it difficult to justify migrating to a brand new system if all their current games are completely useless on this new platform. I think backwards compatibility is one of the greatest things a video game console can have. As soon as it launches, it already has a huge library of games to play, which can make it more appealing to sell your old system and buy a brand new one. To be honest, the majority of games I play on my PS5 are PS4 games that I didn't get around to playing. Please don't just re-release Switch games on the new system at full price with minimal content added. Surely Nintendo wouldn't do that. Better controllers. One of the biggest problems with the Switch that's even led to lawsuits is the quality of the controllers that come with the console, the Joy-Cons. They're just awful. They're weirdly flat, the buttons and sticks are way too small, and they drift more than I do when I take Benadryl. While the Joy-Cons are some of the worst controllers I've ever used, the Switch Pro controller is probably my third favourite controller of all time. It's my go-to controller for every Switch game I play. Unless it's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee, since someone thought that making a single Joy-Con the only control method in dock mode was a good idea. What the fuck were they smoking? With a brand new system, Nintendo finally has the chance to fix the Joy-Cons. They could be more ergonomic, with some curves or textures on the body to make them fit in the hand better. And if possible, it'd be nice if they had a better gyroscope to make the motion control of the Switch at least on par with that of the Wii. Playing games that need a pointer like Super Mario Galaxy and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker are actively worse on Switch than consoles that use the Wii remote. The Joy-Cons constantly desync and need to be reset during gameplay. They're just nowhere near as reliable. And even though the original Joy-Cons are less than desirable, it would be nice if the new system was still compatible with them. It means that people can play multiplayer straight away, even if they only have one of each system. I don't know if you can tell, but I love backwards compatibility. The human body of 2023 is still compatible with the Black Plague, and I think that's kinda neat. Revamp the online system. Nintendo and online games tend to go together like a brick and the skull of a child. It's less than ideal. The current system is better than nothing, but it is flawed. The basic pricing is good value for money, but the online stability leaves a lot to be desired. There's no way to message your friends, no voice chat on the system itself, and every single game either has an individual or just no way to invite your friends to games. Nintendo is decades behind the competition when it comes to their online service. From my perspective, the quickest way Nintendo can catch up to Microsoft and Sony with their online service is to integrate Discord functionality while focusing their own resources on improving the stability of online play. Rework the online app. While everyone was initially learning about the Nintendo Switch, we were hoping that they were revamping their online system, and while they did to a certain extent, they didn't do nearly as much as we'd hoped. We finally got voice chat with friends, through a mobile app. It's like telling someone you're thirsty and they present you with a bottle of warm piss. Either delete the app entirely or rework it in line with the PlayStation and Xbox apps. Let players message their friends on the app, view the eShop, and receive notifications when things on their wishlist are on sale. As of now, the app is almost entirely useless. Bring back the Virtual Console. I love it when companies make their legacy content available on current platforms. While the Nintendo Switch Online libraries are a good idea, the structure and pricing are a bit controversial. While I don't think Nintendo should entirely remove their current system, I think they could potentially introduce an alternative. With previous consoles, Nintendo offered individual games for purchase which were played through the Virtual Console. I'd personally rather pay for the individual games that I'm interested in as opposed to paying for an entire service just to get access to 1 or 2 games. If you want to play Super Metroid, you have to pay a regular fee. But don't worry, you get access to Joe and Mac. With Nintendo Switch Online, you're constantly paying for a subscription. But with the Virtual Console, you pay for the games you want once and they're yours. You don't lose access to your games if you stop paying for the online service. I just think it's a better system, and it could be offered as an alternative instead of an all-up replacement. Street Pass. One of the most interesting features of the 3DS was Street Pass. If you passed someone else with a 3DS, their Mii would join yours in the Mii Plaza, letting you play games that entirely relied on finding more Miis. My personal favourite of these was Puzzle Swap. You would get a puzzle piece from each Mii. Each one was a part of a picture related to a game they played on their system. Other games from Mii Plaza included stuff like Street Pass Quest, Street Pass Garden, and Street Pass Fishing. Street Pass helped you create your own little 3DS community. With the success of the Switch, adding this feature to both the original model and the Switch 2 would make the Street Pass even better than it was back on 3DS. And it would do a lot more to create a feeling of community than the little indicator that tells you when your friends are online. Just to round out the other suggestions, I'm going to throw in some more basic asks that don't really need as much explanation as the other stuff, starting with more onboard storage. With 32GB on the original model and 64 on the OLED, people building entirely digital libraries will need to pick up a microSD card sooner than expected. Keep the expandable storage, just add more internally. Keep the OLED screen. I thought the OLED was a dumb idea when it was announced, but then I got the OLED and oh my god, Wario has never looked so good before. Up the specs. I didn't mention this in the longer sections because it's pretty obvious. Tears of the Kingdom pushes the Switch to its absolute limits. Who knows what kind of experiences Nintendo could make with access to more horsepower. And now I just want to run through a few games that I'd like to see out of this new system. A new 2D Metroid, ARMS 2, a new Donkey Kong Country, a collection of all 3 Luigi's Mansion games, a new Punch-Out, and Mario Kart 8 Super Ultra Mega Deluxe now with Funky Kong. Before I finish this, I just want to say sorry for the inconsistent upload schedule. I'm working on about 3 different things at once right now, but I wanted to get something out in the meantime. With the Switch continuing to perform astonishingly well, I can't wait to see what Nintendo has in store for us. I'm just hoping we don't get another Virtual Boy.